This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers wanna know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. All right, I know you didn't come here to hear me sing. Today, we're doing the David Bowie book tag. I love David Bowie. And you can't see that I'm wearing the David Bowie shirt. David Bowie shirt. But it's cut off by the camera, so I tried. I tried. So I'm Sin. Welcome to the Book Nook. Today we're doing this tag called the David Bowie tag, which I thought was pretty cool. I was tagged by the lovely MJ over at Reading This Life. She is a fellow booktuber. I will link her channel down below so you can check her out as well. She's pretty great. So yeah, the whole concept of this is it's basically titles of David Bowie songs, and then from the title they get like a type of book, and from that type of book you choose a book that you've read that is similar to that type of book. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then I got a bit overwhelmed because there's a ton. There's so many. I looked and I was like, oh my god. So I have like books they're like on the desk, on the chair, and I have a couple in here twice that I'm using for two of the different categories. I know I'm probably not supposed to do that, but that it worked out that way. So I don't know. This is how we're doing it. So this was originally created by the channel Death of the Author Reviews. I'm not sure if that channel is still around. That's who originally did this tag, and I do love David Bowie, so I'm kind of stoked to do this. So yeah, there's and let me actually see how many there's like about 15 different songs. So I was like, yeah, a little overwhelming, but whatever. We're gonna jump in and we're gonna do it. So the first song that we correlate with our books and Bowie is the song Modern Love. And the book they related to this is a cute contemporary romance. So first off, I fail because I don't read romance. No. But I do read books that have romance in them. And one of my favorite all-time books in the world has a really great romance in it. Is it contemporary? Yes and no. Does it exist in this world? Yes and no, because it's a fantasy book. So it is the romance, I would say, in the book Imajica by Clive Barker between Gentle and Pi, I-O-Pa. So Imajica. This is one of my favorite books. This book is old. This is super old. It comes in two parts. I don't know if you can get it as one book now, because I have friends who had this as one book, but I've had this book for a million years. I've read it probably like 4 or 5 times. One of my absolute favorites. But they had a really amazing romance. And Pi is neither male nor female. Basically, Pi is whatever you see in them. They are this mystical being. And the protagonist in the story, Gentle and Pi, fall in love, and it's just a really great love story that is throughout and in this book that is a giant gargantuan Imajica, one of my favorite books. I love Clive Barker. It's a good face, Sin. So yeah, that's the first one, Modern Love, baby. So the next one is the next song is Ziggy Stardust, and it's your favorite sci-fi. This one is a book called The Stars My Destination by Alfred Bester. I used to have a copy of this book. I don't know what happened to it. This book's pretty old. I read it years ago and I've read it a few times, and it's just a really great sci-fi book. And I should probably get another copy of it. I'm due for a rereading. I like to reread things over times. So the next one up on this is Scary Monsters is the next song, and the type of book I'm supposed to find was supernatural scary. So for that one, I went for the Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. Tells the story of Pan, and it's terrifying. This is a very disturbing book. It's very small, but it disturbed me greatly. It's like a little bit of nightmare fuel in there. So yeah, this one. All right, so after Scary Monsters, we have Loving the Alien, that song. And the correlation with this is Paranormal Romance. As I've said, I don't read romance. I mean, could Imajica be kind of considered paranormal romance? Yeah, probably, because it's super fantasy. But I decided instead to choose a paranormal book that I really like that's super creepy. And it's Communion by Whitley Strieber, based on a true story. Look at how creepy that cover is. I mean, it talks about him and his wife. They're married. I mean, it's not really a romance book, but I don't read romance, so we get paranormal. And I guess you could apply Magica to this. Sure, why not? After loving the alien, we come to the song Let's Dance, and a book that makes you unreasonably happy. Okay, that's like a weird turn of phrase, unreasonably happy, because nothing makes me unreasonably happy. There are things that make me excited and happy. I guess I just have to go with a book that I really love, that I've read a million times. And it's not a happy book, but it's not a sad book, and it has like a decent ending, and it's by one of my favorite authors ever, and that is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Neverwhere, Neil Gaiman's the best. I love him. Neverwhere. This is also one of my favorite books. Oh yeah. Does it make me unreasonably happy? No, but no book does that. Not one. But I love this book a lot, and that part makes me happy. Moving on to the next one. All right. This next one, the song is Slow Burn, and it's slow with an amazing ending, like a slow start that builds and just goes into a great story. And that one for me was A Trip to the Stars by Nicholas Christopher. This book did start out a little slow. I have a pile of books. I don't know what to do with these. I gotta set them down. I can edit this out, right? Yeah. Anyways, okay. A Trip to the Stars by Nicholas Christopher. It starts a little slow. Once the story gets going, it's such a magical, awesome book. I mean, there's a little bit of romance in there. See, I don't mind it when it's like within the story, but I can't just read like trashy smut sex. I don't know. It doesn't interest me that much. This book is fantastic. I read this years ago, and then I reread it. I reread a lot of books during the pandemic. I have gone back and revisited books that I loved a lot, and this was one of them. It started out slow, and then it picked up, and just really fantastic book. Nicholas Christopher, Trip to the Stars. It's a good one. So the next one it's called Absolute Beginners is the name of the song. And the correlation for that one is awesome debut novel. Okay, so The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I loved this book. This is her debut novel. It was so magical, and I don't know. It's about a night circus, and there's these two magicians, and they have all these fantastical things that they create and do. And it's just, I don't know. I really enjoyed this book. And for her first novel, I thought she knocked it out of the park. That's just like my opinion, man. But I did. I really liked this book. So The Night Circus for that one. The next song is I'm Afraid of Americans, a book that didn't take place in the US. Well, I recently read, this is the shiny library book. Here it comes. The Blue Sky Gods. And the glare from it, I try not to get it in your face. I try not to give you the glare. This book is fantastic. There's going to be a whole video about this book coming soon-ish, in a few weeks. I gotta edit. But yeah, this takes place in India. Hopefully I didn't get the shine too, like, into your eyeballs. All right, so the next one is Dance Magic Dance. And this one it wants a super quotable book. And my brain was like, are you kidding me? I can't think of a single book that I'm just throwing out blah, 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 like book quotes. But then I do sometimes speak in songs. Like, I'll say song lyrics like, this is the end, my only friend, the end, Jim Morrison, break on through the other side. Well, hey, I have a book of poetry by Jim Morrison that has most of his song lyrics in it, so I quote those. Going through my life, I say lyrics of Jim Morrison, and he was a really fantastic poem in Wilderness. If you like poetry, and you like The Doors and Jim Morrison, he has another volume of poetry too. I cannot think of what it's called right now, but I loved this book. Great poetry book. The only quotable book I could think of, because I was like, I don't quote the books that I read, but the song lyrics, yes, I do. All right. So the next one after that one is Little Wonder. And this one is a book that surprised you. That one was kind of tough because a lot of books, are predictable and you're able to kind of figure out where they're going and where they're heading. Well, a book I read this past year it was just kind of wild and such a unique, weird story was Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This book was awesome. Just such a strange, almost sad, haunting story, but it was really great. So, Susanna Clarke, pardon my fingers, Piranesi. All right, so that was that one. Then we come to sound and vision. Favorite, like film to movie adaptation. So that one is Pan's Labyrinth, the movie Pan's Labyrinth. I believe that originally came out in, was it like 2006? And they made a book from the movie. So, normally it's like they make a movie from the book. This one, they wrote a book from the movie, and it was really fantastic. I read it a month or two ago, and it's awesome. If you've ever seen that movie and you haven't read the book makes it a bit more magical, I felt, than the movie did. So Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah, it was written by Guillermo del Toro and Cornelia Funke, or Funke. I don't know how you say her name. Next up, we have Where Are We Now? And a sequel that you loved more than the first book. Well, mine is not a sequel. I could not think of a sequel that I loved more than the first book. But I did have a book that was a fifth book in a series that I loved more than any of the ones before it. And that was The Voyage of the Dawn Treader in the Narnia Chronicles. I've read the Narnia Chronicles, I don't know how many times, but I've read Voyage of the Dawn Treader at least 10. Probably read the Chronicles through at least 3 or 4 times. But The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is my favorite. I love books about traveling on the water, the ocean, mermaids, mermen, mer-creatures, mer-people, mer-humans. They're not, I don't know. Stuff along those lines. So this was about traveling by boat to all these different cool islands, and it's magical, and this is one of my favorites. So yeah, it's not the second in a series, it's like the 5th, but it was better than all the ones before it, in my opinion. All right, so yeah, that one, Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis. Boop. Okay, so the next one, and I will list all these books too down in the panel so you can see what they are as well. The next one is Oh, You Pretty Things. So, favorite book cover is what's related to this song. So, first of all, this is not it, but this is it. This dust jacket, let's take it off. Let's take this off. Come on. You gotta see what this book actually looks like. Okay, so now that that's off, I think this is beautiful. There's all these cool little gold designs with glasses and razors and combs and shells, and It's True Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. Also, this book is fantastic. Fantastic! But I couldn't choose just one because I have another one that I really love the cover and is really beautiful, and that's The Green Witch. That is by Erin Murphy Hiscock. And it's got all these like beautiful greenery plants on it, and it's just such a lovely, lovely cover. So I had to choose 2 for that one. I couldn't decide between the 2, so I had to go for 2. And that's okay, right? We can have 2. The next song is Heroes, and your favorite badass protagonist. And honestly, that we go right back to my favorite book. Imajica, Gentle from Imajica is my favorite badass protagonist. Or Judith in this book, because she was also a badass. She might have been more badass than Gentle, to be honest. Either one of them. I think Judith might have been more badass. Just saying. All right. And for the last one is the song Andy Warhol and a book that inspired you. That would be Stephen King's On Writing. Stephen King's book about writing is one of the best books on writing I've ever read. I've read several of them. Another one I like a lot is Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird, but Stephen King's is Absolutely my favorite. It's such an inspiration. I have never written a book, but I was a journalist for several years, and I was a music journalist, I guess I should specify. I wrote about music, musicians, albums, live show reviews, and then I also I wrote occasionally about like restaurants and different venues and such, but mainly about music, which was a fun time in my life. So yeah, I've read several writing books, and Stephen King's on writing is my favorite and probably the one I've been most inspired by. So yeah, that is the David Bowie book tag. Good times. That was actually a lot of fun to do. So I will have all the tag stuff down below in the channel. Once again, thank you for watching and joining me in the Book Nook as we did the David Bowie book tag. What a neat freaking idea. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Big David Bowie fan. Wish you could have seen the shirt the whole time. It's a good shirt. I love David Bowie. But yes, thank you for joining me here on the Nook. Till next